This is a quick video sharing how applying the principles of Course in Miracles took what could otherwise be an extremely painful day and turned it into one of joy and delight. I was traveling from Costa Rica back to Austin, Texas, and every single thing that just about could have gone wrong went wrong. From having an expired passport to almost not being let out of the country, to being stuck in immigration and questioned and talking to agents over the phone, to delayed flights, to stepping on a thumbtack when I got home, and et cetera, et cetera. It was like every step I took was met by this reflection of, oh, you think you're in control of reality, do you? Well, how do you respond when there's a delay, when there's this, there's that? And what we realize when we study A Course in Miracles is that all that suffering, all that uh, inconvenience, all that irritation is just pure forgiveness fuel to bring us to reality. It is what fills us up. It is what literally gives us the ammunition to fire the cannon of truth that's alive in us. And there's no other way, right? If you wake up and there's just no catalyst, nothing's irritating, nothing's happening, etc., how would you be able to apply these principles? And so what's so fascinating, there's this phenomenon that almost uh the more inconvenient a day is, the more unpleasant, people might label it as unpleasant a day is, the more opportunity we have to polarize our energy, to forgive, to ask the Holy Spirit to correct our vision, to remain vigilant for the kingdom. And it's so fascinating how I have had multiple days like this in my life, a handful where I mean everything goes wrong from the duality perspective. And because I'm vigilant, because I'm applying the principles of A Course in Miracles, because I'm forgiving, because I'm choosing to see through the eyes of Christ, it turns every one of those points of suffering into peace, a little bit more peace, a little bit more vision, a little bit more clarity that, hey, I'm not the doer here. I can't control this. I can only choose how I perceive it. And it is, again, mind boggling, ego demolishing that by the end of this day that I had, that was so difficult, so challenging, I was literally left in a state of bliss and experiencing the happy dreams of the Holy Spirit, where there was just the non-dual perception that was continually arising. Bliss was arising, dancing and laughing. And we have that option, no matter how crummy, how inconvenient, how unpleasant it gets. We get to choose how to perceive it. We get to choose if we're going to believe the story of the ego or remain vigilant for reality, vigilant for the kingdom. And this is why the workbook is so critical to apply the daily lesson so that we can see who and what we are. And there's no other way without the inconvenience of this third density dual uh, ego world that we're in. There is no other way to remember who we are. And so use this gift, use your suffering, your pain, the inconvenience, the dread of going to work, whatever it is, to ask the Holy Spirit to correct your vision, to correct your perception, just one drop at a time, letting go of one story at a time, and trust that it is leading you to reality. Because there's nothing else. See, reality is always here. It's always alive. It's in us. It's what we are. And it's perfect. And it's only trying to bless us. It's only ever blessing us. We are only ever being blessed so thoroughly, so wholly, so entirely. The ego is terrified of it. It has to overlay stories and projections again and again. It has to project guilt outside of us because it knows once we taste reality, once we really taste reality, there's no going back. You can't untaste it. You won't go back. And so the ego's met its match. And don't be surprised that as you go deeper into this journey in A Course in Miracles, that the ego will kick up and tell even more horror stories and darken more so to try to get you to identify with the body. And I can relate to this personally because months into studying the course, I broke out in severe skin symptoms that kept me distracted for 2 years of my life as a separate self. I couldn't understand the lessons, right? Sickness is a defense against the truth. I couldn't grasp that because I was so identified as a separate self. And I was so busy projecting my guilt onto my body that I couldn't, that I'd forgotten what health really is. And health is inner peace. Health is unity, right? And it was only through going back into A Course in Miracles and realizing that all these symptoms are an attempt of the ego to get me to identify as a separate self. And that, in fact, no symptom the body can show can actually take my peace. Ooh, and that's scary because how easy is it to be a victim? No, but my disease, but my cancer, but this. I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, says the ego. I'm a poor victim. Look at me, look at me. Enough with that story. Enough with that story. Unless you want to be a victim, and I promise you, you don't. You might think you do. You might think you want your story. You might think your suffering is extra qualified. It's not. It's not. And that's really hard to let go of initially until you taste the grace that's on the other side. The grace that we we are when we let go of these stories of identity. And so that's it. If this can just inspire one person to keep applying these principles, it doesn't matter if it's disease, your job, a death in the family, a breakup. We all have to go through it. That's the only thing that's guaranteed. This is a world of death, right? It's very clear. But reality is always alive. It can't die. What we are can't and won't ever die. There is no death. The Son of God is free. There is no death. The Son of God is free. Taste that freedom and realize all the suffering, all the stories, every thought that makes you cringe is the ego's attempt at death. That you're the Son of God, baby. Remember that. You are the Son of God. We all are. See it in your brother, see it in your sister, and you're seeing it in yourself. I love you. And I love everyone that's devoted to this path. And if you're considering studying A Course in Miracles, I couldn't urge you enough to give it a shot. Try out the workbook, see what comes up. Even if you've just heard of the Course in Miracles, you have been graced in this lifetime. It's a path, and there's many paths. There's many paths to reality. A Course in Miracles is one beautiful, beautiful, direct, loving, compassionate path. And once you taste reality, all you can do is want to extend and invite everyone into this pool of love that we are. And it's the last reminder I'll give. All the pain. Today I stepped on a thumbtack for the first time in my life, and it went all the way to the skin. It's right through my foot. And I yelped and immediately started laughing. Because only the guilty mind can feel pain. And even though it stung for a second, it just reminded me of reality. There is no death. That thumbtack can take my peace, baby. The Son of God is free. I love you. Have a good day.